Okay, the long-awaited, my one follower, a review of the Mistborn Era 1, or the Mistborn trilogy. Begins with the first book, Mistborn. Second book is The Well of Ascension. Third book is The Hero of Ages, all by Brandon Sanderson. And then we get two little novellas inside the Arcanum Unbounded, which are really good. I really liked this series. Really liked it. I really enjoyed it. So a little about me. I read things and I have a tendency to spoil the plot for myself. Like, I kind of figure it out early on, and I ruin the books for myself because I'm like, oh, I knew it. With this series right here, by the last, like, 25% of the last book, I had no idea what was happening. And then I was just, within the last couple chapters, thrown into a fit of sobbing because of this trilogy, okay? Which is unlike me. I don't really tend to get emotional over books. I have to be really invested. So I think the last time I was really emotional over a book would have been Zodiac Academy. And that was like 10 books plus the extra series, the Ruthless Boys, that kind of went along with it. It was like multiple changeover characters. And it was years of reading it. So I was fully invested in the characters, and I got emotional probably by Heartless Sky. But this book, in 3 little books, and I say little kind of tongue-in-cheek here because they're not little, they're beefy little books. I had no idea what was happening. I was yelling and screaming. My husband was like, "Are you okay? Do you need to take a break? This is crazy." But yeah, so let's get into it. So, book 1, Mistborn. We jump right into Cosmere and Vin's story. Fun fact, if you go onto brandonsanderson.com after you're done reading, you can read the author's notes, which is kind of fun. His, like, annotations as he was writing the books. Vin was supposed to be a boy character, a male character. But he changed it, and she was a girl, which I loved because it flowed so nicely. So they live in the Cosmere universe. Forgive me, I forgot the name of the planet that they live on at the moment. But they are a part of the Ska population, which is like the lower class, lowest class. They're the slaves of this universe. This world. I won't say universe because I haven't read the whole universe yet. And Cosmere is a thief. He is an allomancer, and what that means is he has gained the ability to burn certain metals, and he gains, like, powers from it. Or enhanced abilities, rather. And he wants to form a crew and take down the Lord Ruler and free his people, the Ska. That's the overall gist of this book. Within this story, there are a lot of great mini lessons, little knowledgeable things. I have a few quotes that I've highlighted. Super job on world building and character development and character building. The relationships that you see begin, and I don't mean relationships like lovers or partners. I just mean like the friendships and, you know, the sacrifices that are made for these friendships, is so well done. And I think if I ever hear that Brandon Sanderson is a problematic author, I'm going to be absolutely devastated, because I love his style of writing. I love how he brings things to life as you're reading it, and it's just so good. It's so good. So that's book 1. And by the end of book 1, some things go down and you are just left speechless. And I won't spoil anything, but it's going to make you want to jump right into book 2, The Well of Ascension, which continues on with Vin she's a major character throughout all 3 books. So we continue on with Vin, and now we introduce a new character, Elend. And Elend was a noble, or is a noble, in the book 1. You start to find out about Elend. But book 2 kind of continues on with Vin and Elend. And another great book. They continue on with trying to rebuild the Empire and free the Ska still and get everything into place so that, you know, things can be better. And little do they know that they have unleashed some really bad things into the world after book 1. Again, I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah. So not only are they trying to rebuild everything and get everyone into good positions for, you know, the Ska being free and the nobles not being at the top of the list and, you know, all that. But now they're dealing with some other outside factors that they had not planned on. And it becomes really dicey. And again, by the end of this book, my jaw was on the floor. And I was not expecting the things that went down. Though I will say Vin is a great character, and I kind of knew that she would always do the right thing at the end. But yeah, maybe it wasn't the right thing. Maybe it was, who knows? Which then brings us right into book 3, The Hero of Ages. I want to preface this by saying, at the end of this book, I was destroyed in the most beautiful way. The unexpected turn blew me away. And, you know, I'm usually one that figures out the plot and I ruin books for myself, but not this time. Brandon got me. He got me. He got me good on this one. So this book continues with Vin and Elend. And they are now fighting this bigger power that has come to destroy everything. And things get really dicey. Things get really, really dicey. And the world is ending. And they have to make some sacrifices, and they have to make some choices, and they have to do better. And you feel their struggle through the last 2 books. You feel it greatly and deeply. And it is amazing how he has brought them to life. And really just, and when I say him, I mean Brandon Sanderson, the author. It's pretty crazy. So, I was not expecting the ending, which was great for me because, I was really surprised and I was really invested in it, and I was sobbing and I was cheering, and my husband was concerned for my well-being at how much I was yelling and screaming towards the end of this book. Like, I will say the last 25% of any book by him so far has absolutely ruined me and thrown me into like this. I don't know what's happening, what's going on. My entire world is crushed and I don't know what to do. And then we get into Arcanum Unbounded. And there's 2 short stories in here, 2 novellas, that continue on the Mistborn world. But you get to find out. Now, if you don't want to spoil things, stop listening now. For those that don't really care, the very first short story is, bear with me a second, I forgot the name of it. It is the 11th Metal. So again, in these books, the metals, you can burn certain metals and it enhances abilities or gives you some kinds of powers, if you will. That's the magic that is in this book. So the 11th Metal gives you a preview of Cosmere before Mistborn Book 1. And it kind of gives you a little bit of history for him and how he's come across this 11th metal. And then the second one is Mistborn Secret History. And this is why I say, if you don't like spoilers, leave now. Because in this little novella, you get to see Cosmere's standpoint from, I guess, beyond the veil, if you will, through books 2 and 3 for this trilogy. And I think it was really, really phenomenal. And I was trying to like figure out how he could have incorporated that within the book, but so much of what happens on the other side would have spoiled the book for you. And I probably, like I said, I have a tendency to figure things out. I think if I would have read this along with books 2 and 3, I probably would have figured it out. But wow, like so much more information, kind of gives you a preview into the whole universe. So you know that you're going to hear things here and there as you're reading through this entire Cosmere, which I think is phenomenal. So highly, highly recommend. I loved this series so much. Now, I can do some more videos. I can go more into depth. And I just might for each single book. I don't know that I will for the novellas. I think I've said enough about that. You really need to read it in order to get a good gist of what happens. If I talk too much about it, it's going to spoil it for you. But yeah, I might do some other videos where I get a little more in detail with these. But wow, highly recommend. If you are into epic fantasy, high fantasy, and you really love some good writing, you need to read this. And I know I'm late coming into the Cosmere world, but I'm so glad that I'm here. And I can't wait to get through the rest of these books. So, happy reading!